Welcome back, everyone. My name is Ember, and it's finally time to begin my journey with One Piece. Now, I say that, but technically speaking, this is not my first foray into the One Piece realm. This is actually my third time reading this first volume, and previously I have already read East Blue all the way through the first 10 volumes. But now, I'm going all in. I'm going all the way to wherever it is right now. I currently have the first 3 box sets that Viz put out, which takes me up to volume 70, and I have the 4th one on pre-order. It was supposed to come in at the beginning of September, but it got pushed back to the beginning of January, so once we get through that 3rd box set, we're going to have to take a little break with this journey of mine until that 4th one comes in. But for now, let's dive right in with Volume 1 of One Piece. Man, this is really fucking good. The general thoughts right off the bat, this is just pretty much exactly what I want from an intro to a Shonen Jump story. It's tight, it's punchy, it gets right to the fucking point, and it's just perfectly paced all the way through. It's not perfect per se. There's a little minor gripes here and there, but overall this is just a fantastic display of how to start a Shonen Jump story, which is surprising a little bit because while it does have a lot of what makes a Shonen Jump story, it's very much doesn't start off with the very obvious tropes that a lot of Shonen Jump has. Aside from, like, the main character suddenly getting a superpower, it feels, even today, kind of original. Like, I don't know if I'm quite getting across what I'm... Well, let's just dive into it. This first chapter is so fucking good in so many minute ways. Let's just go through it. One of my favorite parts of it is right away the establishment that pirates are bastards. Like, they are not necessarily good people. They're not... The ones that we meet in this chapter aren't awful people, but it very firmly establishes that they are not righteous do-gooders, as is the case with pirates in general. They're not the Navy, which is the good force in this series. They are a bunch of brigands, a bunch of basically outlaws, well, literally outlaws, and really goes out of its way to portray that in a lot of ways, with the obvious iconic moment of one of Shanks' pirates just booming someone in the side of the head when he's not even looking. It's fucking great. And, God, there's just so many iconic shots in this first chapter, or in this first volume in general, but definitely in this first chapter. It's just and again, going along with that, is fucking visually spectacular as well. A lot of people don't like the more cartoony aesthetic of One Piece, but I love it, especially in its manga form. I wasn't as huge... I've seen a little bit of the anime, and I wasn't as huge on the aesthetic there, but I definitely like it here. It very much works with just a little bit more detail that manga allows in terms of designs. But back to this first chapter, there's a lot of really interesting, just small details. Like, before Luffy eats the gum gum fruit, there's like a few shots where it's kind of almost foreshadowing him turning into rubber. Like, I just had it. There's let me get back to it. Yeah, like this scene where he's just gnawing on a piece of steak or whatever, and he just has this kind of rubbery, elastic movement to him, and so it's almost foreshadowing in a way him eating the gum fruit and turning into the little rubber man. So that was a cool little detail I liked. Also the fact that Shanks is kind of a prick. Love that. That's fuck. I forgot about that part, really. And that really goes a long way in informing Luffy's character. Like, Shanks is the guy that he looked up to, and so when we get to later, the chapters after that introduction, where Luffy just makes fun of people when he sees them for the first time, it's kind of like, oh yeah, he learned that from Shanks. He's kind of a prick, and it's really fun. And that's one of the things where, like I said earlier, where it kind of feels very kind of original for a Shonen Jump property. There aren't, I don't really, off the top of my head, I can't really think of another Jump protagonist that is like Luffy in that regard. Like, a lot, like, the general Jump protagonist is like, you have the wide-eyed child being introduced to a new world, or you have, like, Midoriya and My Hero, or you have sort of the punk-esque characters like Yusuke, or and that's a little bit in with Naruto, but Luffy is just fucking sardonic, blunt, dumb asshole right out of the gate, but also just super jovial about it. He kind of, I guess he kind of reminds me of Adam, I think his name is, from Undead Unluck. Weird comparison, I know, but that's really the only thing that comes to mind. Maybe a little bit of Gintoki from Gintama, but I don't know, maybe I'm just caught up in the moment right now with how much I love this first volume, but even now, fucking 25 years after these first chapters initially came out, Luffy still feels very original. So that kind of came as a big shock to me. And the rest of the cast so far is just as great. This first volume, just in case you don't remember, it covers the introduction up through the first chapter of the arc with Buggy the Clown. So basically, it ends with Nami being introduced to Luffy. So if you know what that is, that's the general time frame. So it covers all of the arc with the introduction of Zoro and Captain Morgan. And all the characters, absolutely fucking loved them. Even the shitty villain characters like Captain Morgan being the just absolute self-righteous, self-absorbed asshole that he is, and his shit-fuck son. And that's another thing I really liked about this, is it also right away, aside from establishing that the pirates are morally gray bastards, also establishes that the military, the Navy, is not going to be 100% good. Or even, not even close to 100% good. Our first interaction with the Navy in this manga is that they're a bunch of fucking self-centered assholes for the most part. Of course, at the end, it's revealed that most of the soldiers were just obeying out of fear. They were obeying Captain Morgan out of fear for their own lives, but it still establishes that the military is not a wholly good entity, or even a mostly good entity. The Navy's got some problems. So that'll be interesting to see how that progresses moving forward. And that's definitely one of the things I'm looking forward to the most with this, is the world building, because this is just prime setup for some spectacular world building, and I know that's one of the big things that draws people to One Piece, so I'm really excited to get into it. What else happened? I'm just all over the place because there's just so much to talk about. I almost wanted to write notes that have a fucking outline for this, but that's not the purpose of these kind of videos. I just want to be off the cuff and just totally frank with it. Oh, here, I turned to the... See, this was... I randomly turned to Zoro's flashback with Kuina, and this was one of the things that actually, like, turned me off of One Piece when I read it the first time. Like, when I first read this volume, which was... Holy fuck. 6, 7 years ago? When I first read this, I found it very corny and overly dramatic, but now the nuances of it and the way that it's structured and paneled makes me really like this scene where Zoro's childhood friend just suddenly dies when she falls down the stairs. It's abrupt and dramatic and works as a great motivation for Zoro. And also, gender politics. In the first volume, like, was not expecting that. Like, it's Kuina, Zoro's friend, points out that eventually she's going to be surpassed by all the men around her because she's a woman. But it's also very heavily implied that she has this mindset because of her dad, not because she intrinsically believes this or that the audience should believe this. She very much feels like a character trapped by the society that she's in. And I know there's so many other fucking strong female characters in One Piece, so I'm very interested in seeing how that mindset is going to be flipped on its head, if it gets addressed again. So, yeah, real fucking good. The comedy, it's fucking amazing. That's one of the things that turns off a lot of people about Shonen Jump stuff in general, is like the comedy can often be kind of just abrupt or just overly compensating, trying to be funny, or just too exaggerated. But because One Piece, it is a serious pirates adventure story, but it's also a comedy. This one, at least in this first volume so far, definitely leans more into comedy than a lot of other general shonen action series, and that gives it a lot of levity so that the dramatic moments can actually hit really hard when they need to, but also just gives everything a nice, solid flow to it, and it lets it be goofy and fun and just generally a great time. Like, I'm gonna love this. So, yeah. And of course, the spreads and the paneling are fucking phenomenal. These layouts are just so fucking cool. So many iconic shots in this first manga, whether it's Luffy punching a fucking sea dragon in the face, or him 2 pages later just standing up in the boat, triumphant that he's finally starting his journey. The paneling is just so fucking good. And even then, a few panels before that, after Shanks loses his arm, we have this spiral outwards top-down shot of Luffy realizing that he's actually is in over his head right now. There's so much visually engaging about this fucking series, and just the general movement of the characters as well. Like, where was that one shot? Fucking love the way this character is drawn right now, where he just dodges a sword and puts his cigarette out in the dude's eye. So just the way his arms are angled, the way he's moving, it just looks so fucking cool and smooth, makes him look like a fucking badass. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I can't. You know, I said I had some complaints earlier, but now that I think about it, I can't really name any complaints off the top of my head. It's fast-paced, it's super punchy in all of the dialogue, whether it's funny or serious, and there's always a great flow between them. It never feels like one is interrupting the other. And it's generally gorgeous to look at. Loving the character designs, again, just fucking bomb-ass shots that stick with you, that are you can tell right away this is going to be a fucking iconic moment and just sticks in your head. I am so excited to finally go all in on One Piece, and I hope you will continue to join me on this journey through what might be one of the greatest manga of all time. So, I think that's all I have to say for now. I imagine these video lengths are going to fluctuate as we go on, because some volumes might have more to say, some might have less to say, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. In any case, thanks for watching. Tomorrow we will cover Volume 2. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you have your own thoughts, or if you have suggestions on how to make this better. I think I might try filming on a different camera tomorrow, just so that the audio quality is not shit and I can actually get actual 1080. My phone says it's 1080, but it's really not. So, look forward to that. My name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.